Okay, this video is on how to use this slab roller. So if you want to make a pretty big slab with a larger amount of clay, this is a great tool. Same thing when you're rolling a slab on the table or on a smaller scale. You want to make sure that you don't have cruds all over your canvas that you're using. And so how this slab roller works is that you have the two turn wheels right here that adjusts the thickness of your slab, and you want to work your way down. So depending on how big of a clay that you're working with, start from around 2.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters, and I'm not sure why this is in centimeters, and then work your way down to 1 centimeter. And so you can kind of try this out, and the indicator for the thickness is over here on the left with an arrow, and so kind of get a feel for it and you can adjust. So there's that, and then this is the turn wheel that rotates this, which is what kind of acts as a rolling pin, and that flattens your clay. And there's another one underneath the canvas over here. Okay, and for a slab roller, you want 2 pieces of canvas. Never directly put clay on this. You can see this is made so that it has a grip, so that it can catch the canvas and roll with it. Okay, and so the way to get started is the same as any slab rolling. You make a biscuit, make a cake, make a cookie, flatten it out, and kind of have a even shape to this, right? So we can work it a little bit more. Get it to a thick pancake. Flip your top over. Make sure you don't have too much of a crud. If you wipe this down with a wet sponge, make sure you kind of let it air out, dry, before you place your clay. Otherwise your clay will get into the fibers and stick. Okay? So there's that. Well, let's see. You can kind of pull this over, and then let's place it a little bit more in the center. And then lay this over. Okay, so with this, there's different kinds of slab rollers, but with this slab roller, we need to manually guide it through. So come over to the other side of where you put your clay and pull it until you can kind of feel the clay touch the roller. And when it touches, this is when you can turn, and you can give it a little tug on the right, and it will catch, and then you can pull through. Okay? And then pull it out to the other side. I like to always check. And then this is when, well, now I have like an oval egg shape. I rotate this, okay, and place it so that it is now horizontal to the rolling pins, so that we're not getting just this long stretch of thin slab, unless like you're going for longer clay slabs. Okay, so we're just going to do a little bit more even. Do the same thing, cover it up. Now we can kind of pull back through the other way. Okay, and I can tell now there's no more resistance when I roll it through. And then, so we come over here, okay, I think it's still, it could give another stretch before I have to rotate it. So, cover that back up and come to your thickness guide and adjust it another 1/2 centimeter. So now we got to 2. You don't want to drastically change the thickness, just like I've said in the other videos. You don't want to traumatize the clay and stretch the particles suddenly and too much. Okay, and then same thing, tug, roll through, and pull. Let's check this. Okay, see, you got a little more even of a disc again. So now I'm going to put it kind of, again, diagonally. Move it from the spot that it was in, just so that the moisture of the clay isn't in one place. If there's room on the canvas, cover it up, and actually, because that didn't have too much of a resistance, I'm going to go another 1/2 inch, okay? And then come back through, and tug, pull, roll it. Now that I felt nice resistance. It wasn't too hard. You can tell when your clay is too thick, because you're going to have a hard time rolling this bars through. Yep. So now we got a nice oval stretch again. Same thing. Rotate it. Put it down. Also, you could do the same thing if you're using a smaller slab and actually double the canvas up, so you can use the grain canvases so that you can kind of gently pick it up and turn it over or rotate. Okay, okay, guide that again. And we're going to put it back through another time before we adjust the height. So pull it again until you can feel it touching the rollers, and then, yep, give it a little tug and roll. Okay, I didn't have any resistance there. That went through real easy. Okay, and it didn't really change the form of the slab too much, so excuse me. I'm going to adjust this another 1/2 centimeter. So now we're kind of at the 1. If you're worried about it getting too thin suddenly, you can of course adjust it 1/4 centimeters at a time. Let me get some water. Okay, so now it's at 1 centimeter. Again, pull it till you feel it catch a bit, and then roll and turn the wheel through. Okay, and pull your canvas. Let's see. That's pretty nice. So it's still on the thicker side. Depends what you're making, but this would be a 1 centimeter would be a good bottom thickness for different things you're making. But if you want to use your slabs for building like a rim or actual body, then we can go a tad bit more, maybe like 1/4 centimeters, and pull it through. So, and then let's see where we're at. Yeah, that's nice. Very nice. So this is really nice when you're making a larger slab, or if you need a lot of slab pieces. that you can cut up. Very helpful to use the machine. And so that's 3/4 of a centimeter. That's a really nice thickness for building well, bottoms or slab built objects. So there's the slab roller. It's a really handy tool. And then when you're done with this, please sponge down the canvas properly. It's a little dirtier than it should be right now. So let's try to clean things up better than what we found it. Because this studio really needs that and needed that. Okay, and then when you're working to remove this, you can use this large canvas to actually like pull it onto a board. If you need to, you can just like slide your board under here and then take it over to the table to work on your slab. Okay, but please do not try to cut your slabs on top of these canvases. We want this to last long, and I don't want any threading to happen on these bigger sheets of canvas. Okay, but let me just give a little demo on moving the slab, just because. So get a wear board. This is a tad small for this size slab, but you got a little bit overhang, but it's going to get cut off. So there it is. I just slid it right under easily, which is nice. And then you can basically take this, kind of fold it back, and instead of lifting it off again, I would take another piece of board, maybe with a newspaper, and then you can kind of lay it over here, lay the other board over, and then flip to transfer it onto more of a permanent surface. That way you can return this larger canvas that is specifically for this slab roller. Okay? So there's that. So I hope you guys get a chance to use this. It's really fun and amazing.